Hello everyone, welcome to Lost in the Reel. Today is a very special episode where I'm going to be going over my favorite film from each genre. Now this is a really cool little challenge that's going around YouTube right now, where basically one person does this video where they choose their favorite film from each genre, and then at the very end of the video chooses up to 7 of their favorite YouTube channels to take on this challenge and do this very same video. Now I think this is a really cool way to help support our little film community here on YouTube, as well as help other channels grow, and of course to get to know each other a little bit more. So I was chosen by one of my favorite channels on YouTube, Geeky HiJynx. He is just such an incredible stand-up guy and also a fantastic film critic. If you have not subscribed to his channel, please make sure you do that after watching this video. A link to his channel will be in the description below. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Of 10 genres that I'm going to be going over is horror. Now this one was really hard because there are so many good horror films, but I decided to go the nostalgic route with this one. So my favorite horror film is House of Wax. So I know a lot of people are going to be scratching their chins on this one, but this film has such a special place in my heart because it was the first ever R-rated horror film that I had ever seen. I saw it with my sister Crystal way back in the day, and I just have such fond memories of it. And now revisiting it as an adult, there is so much to respect here, and I think it's criminally underrated. The production design is incredible, the kills are ingenious, and also the practical effects are out of this world. So many horror films these days have gotten really lazy, and House of Wax is anything but. And also, where else can you see Paris Hilton get graphically murdered? Nowhere else but in House of Wax. And next up is one of my favorite genres of film, and that is animation. Those who know me well know I actually started my YouTube channel to go over just animated films, and obviously the channel has grown from there, but this genre has such a special place in my heart, and this was an extremely easy choice for me. My favorite animated film is Spirited Away. While other kids were watching Disney and Pixar, which I definitely did as well from time to time, I actually grew up on Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, which is my favorite animation studio. And by far, at least to me, their best film to date is Miyazaki's Oscar-winning masterpiece, Spirited Away. It is one of the most visually stunning and beautifully creative films I have ever laid my eyes on. It is one of those films that just transports you into this world unlike any you've ever seen, and keeps you there for 2 hours, and honestly, there's a part of you that just wants to stay in that world. If you haven't seen this movie, you absolutely should. It will blow your socks off. And the third genre that we're going to be going over is drama. Now this one's really hard because most dramatic films have other genres that we're linked to as well, and the one that I'm going to be choosing is no different. This one is a mix of drama, historical fiction, fantasy, and horror, and it's also my favorite film of all time, and that is Pan's Labyrinth. I still get riled up thinking about the fact that this film did not win Best International Feature at the Oscars. It was robbed, and it makes me angry, but yes, this is my favorite film of all time. As you'll notice with my list of favorite films, I love movies that transport you to another world, and Pan's Labyrinth absolutely does that. Not only is it terrifying, beautifully realized, brilliantly acted, and sweepingly epic, but it is profound in such a way that it moves me in different ways every single time. I truly believe that this is a film that has changed me for the better, and if you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing and watch it as soon as you can. The next genre on our list is comedy, and this one is actually a little bit difficult for me because I did not grow up on a lot of those classic comedies because my family was definitely more action and drama oriented when it came to our movie selection. So my choice is going to be a little bit more recent, but this is one that never fails to make me laugh like a crazy blubbering idiot, and that movie is Bridesmaids. I really think that Bridesmaids changed the trajectory of comedy films for the better when it came out a little over a decade ago. This movie showed that women can not only be funny, but they can also be raunchy and silly at the same time. Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, and Melissa McCarthy are absolutely hilarious in this movie, and I can say it is one of the very few comedies that actually makes me laugh throughout the entire runtime of the movie, and honestly, the jokes never get old for me. I also love how Bridesmaids is willing to go to deep, dark subject material, all the while still keeping that light-hearted fun. The next genre is one of my very favorites, and that is sci-fi. And this choice was so easy for me. The moment I heard that we had to pick a sci-fi movie, this was the one that I thought of, and I love this movie. It is Minority Report. Once again, we have another film that transports you to another world, and I really do believe that Minority Report has some of the best world building of any science fiction film ever. Throw in a fantastic Tom Cruise performance that I think is one of his best, as well as some deeply unsettling imagery, and you have my favorite Steven Spielberg film as well as my favorite sci-fi film. Our sixth genre of the day is one I could go on forever about, and that is action. Now, this one's really hard because there are so many good action films, but I feel very confident in my top choice, and that film is Mad Max Fury Road. This film went through hell and back to get to our cinema screens, and the blood, sweat, and tears were all worth it. Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy are absolutely incredible in their respective roles, and the score, the direction, the editing, the practical effects, the production design, everything is top-notch and well-crafted. This film is adrenaline pumping from beginning to end, and it really just takes your breath away. And now we have the comic book genre. This one was really difficult for me because I could have gone in so many different routes with this. I absolutely love the X-Men films, and I think that they jump-started our superhero craze that we have today. Also, I could have gone for the MCU. I like a lot of films in their canon, but I decided to go with another animated film, and I think this is the definitive comic book film, or at least for me, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The way the creators of this film were able to make you feel like you were watching a comic book on screen makes Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse probably one of the most groundbreaking films on this list. And not only is it beautiful to look at and absolutely action-packed, but it's able to inject so much heart and humor into the standard comic book series. I really cannot wait to see what Sony does with this universe next. The next genre on the list was very difficult to choose because it's just not one of my favorites. My dad would be writhing in his grave if he heard me say that because this was his favorite, but the genre we're going to go over next is Westerns. So I racked my brain and finally a light bulb went off, and this is easily my favorite Western film, and that is Tombstone. So when I think of the Western genre, I think of very drab and dry and just not a lot of fun, and Tombstone is so much fun. We have Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, and then we have Val Kilmer just chewing the scenery as Doc Holliday. This one is just a blast from start to finish, and one that I really enjoy watching all of the time. So the second to last genre on our list is romance. Now, if you've seen my Little Fish review, you'll know that I'm not the biggest fan of the genre, but when it's done right, I absolutely love it. And when I heard that we had to do a romance film, this is the first one that came to mind, and to me, this is easily the best film in this genre, or rather, best film trilogy in this genre, and that is Before Sunrise. It was really hard not choosing the entire trilogy for this list because I do think that they kind of come as a complete package, but because we have to choose one, I'm going with the original Before Sunrise. Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke have such fantastic chemistry in this movie, and you really fall in love with their characters because they are so fully realized. Some people might think that these movies are really slow because not a lot happens, but just following them around talking about their life, their passions, their grief, what drives them, it's really just a fascinating watch and one that I enjoy more and more every time I revisit. The last genre on this list is adventure. Now, a lot of people are going with Indiana Jones because, of course, that's the definitive adventure film, but I'm going a little bit broader here because I do think adventure encapsulates a lot of different types of films, including fantasy ones. So, I might be jumping hoops with this one, but my favorite adventure film is The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. So here's another film trilogy that I could just go on and on about, but The Lord of the Rings has a very special place in my heart because it was my mom's favorite book series, and when these films came out, she made such a fuss about them. We saw each film at least 10 times in the theaters. She would even call me out of school. I would ditch and go see it, and I'd be like, ha, those stupid kids are in school while I'm watching The Lord of the Rings. So I have such fond memories of this series. And honestly, it still holds up today, and I think it is one of the finest achievements in filmmaking ever made. Okay, so now it's time to choose 7 channels that I challenged to do this video. Now, if you do hear your name and you just don't want to do this, it's totally okay. Do not feel obligated. This is all just supposed to be fun. Now, if you don't hear your name, it's not because I don't love you. I absolutely do. There's just only 7 spots to choose from. And also, I might not have picked you because you've already done this video and I don't want to spam you, or you've already been tagged by someone else to do this. The first channel that I'm going to choose is one of my right-hand dudes. He's an incredible guy, and also his reviews are so well thought out. He also posts at least 3 to 4 times a week, so there's always something new on his channel, and that's going to be Let's Be Real with Brad. And the next channel that I'm going to choose is someone who makes me laugh on a regular basis. She has one of the funniest YouTube channels on the planet. She does reaction videos to not only film, but television shows as well. She is absolutely brilliant, and that is FilmFreakBecky. Next up is a channel that has reviews come out on a daily basis. This guy has been so supportive of me and also is just so sweet, thoughtful, and has wonderful reviews. And he's super unique because in each and every one of his reviews, he gives a life lesson that corresponds to the film that he's talking about. And that, of course, is the Gringo Scott reviews. And next up is one of the hardest working critics on YouTube. He literally has at least 1 review out every day, if not 2 or 3. Not only are his reviews well analyzed, but he's also extremely well spoken, and that is Nick's Film Corner. And next up, I'm choosing someone I absolutely adore. He's literally my British twin. We have the same taste in movies, and he's just such a joy to watch, and that is Luke Hearfield. And the last 2 channels that I'm tagging are people that I've more recently subscribed to, but I'm getting really into their channels, and I'm really appreciating what they are providing to this film community. That first person that I'm choosing is a fantastic critic, and he's always reviewing movies that I've never heard of, which I love because I feel like I've already heard of everything. And he also has a fantastic presence on Twitter, and that is Game Over Movie Reviews. And last but certainly not least is someone who I've very recently subscribed to. I think his channel is fantastic. His videos are extremely well produced. He does a lot of videos covering the Twilight Zone, and I'd really like to see what else he is passionate about, so I'm very curious for him to do this list, and that is Fever Dreamland Theater. So those are my 7 choices of people that I challenged to do a video on their favorite film from each genre. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. And for everyone watching, there will be a link to all of these channels in the description below, so please make sure to check out all of these channels after the video and support them by subscribing to them. Thank you so much everyone for watching Lost in the Reel. We will see you soon.